Hey, everybody, welcome to Live Fully, Lead Authentically. We have some huge new news today for you listeners.
I'm curious, leader, have you ever thought and or uttered the words, I can do this myself?
Hey, everybody, again, welcome to Live Fully, Lead Authentically, a Brimstone coaching group podcast. Yes, that is a new name for our longtime listeners. There are a few of you out there. We know that. Yeah, we
Yes,
have changed the name of the podcast, Chris. Is that right?
that is right. Yeah, I'm excited about the change. It's not necessarily replacing who we've been and what we've been doing, but there is an invitation that I think we want to extend every single time that we engage in our point, our desire for human beings who are listening and other species, I imagine, that they would be able to live fully and lead authentically in whatever space they find themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just real quick, we're super excited about the name change, and none of the content's going to change. The way you listeners consume this, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, none of that's going to change. Just a name change and a thumbnail change. Everything
Hmm.
else going to be just the same. So, Chris, drop that nugget on us just one more time that you dropped a minute ago.
Yeah, sure. Have been thinking about this idea, and some of it is because I experienced it, and I'll get into that just a little bit more
Yeah.
here in a few minutes, I imagine. But I imagine that if any leader is like me, and I think all human beings are pretty similar, we've all uttered these same words. If we haven't uttered them, we've thought them. And the words are these: I can do this myself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. This is fresh, right?
Yeah, it's really fresh. So here's the thing. Like I planted four linden trees in the back corner of the land that we live on 15, 20 years ago. I don't remember. And they were supposed to grow tall. They were supposed to provide a little cover when people drove into our neighborhood. And what I didn't know when I planted those trees is that the creek that runs near where I planted them likes to flood. The
Mm,
culvert running under the street is too small to handle a
mm,
2-inch rain in 20 minutes. And so
mm-hmm.
what happened then is those roots never sank deep and they never spread wide. They were more like a corkscrew. And
Mm.
so they would pop up and down, I had the Leaning Tower of Linden. Some of you are
Oh,
familiar with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I had Leaning Towers of Linden, and they would be like this, then they'd be like this, then they'd be like this. Just kind of depended whichever way the wind blew. But we had straight line winds on Monday evening of 80 to 100 miles an hour. And one of those trees was downed. Yeah. And so I grieve losing trees. I don't enjoy any part of that.
yeah.
But I noticed it before I went to bed. I was like, yep, that tree is down. So of the four, I'm down to one. And
Oh,
yeah, that stinks. And fortunately, some evergreens I planted are providing the cover that I thought that those lindens might. But the struggle is like as leaders, I think we do this all the time. And as I was heading home at the end of the day on Tuesday, the storm came through Monday night. As I was heading home at the end of the work day on Tuesday, one of my friends asked me the question. She said, would you like some help? See, I have that trailer over there and I have boys, and we can come help. And those boys are like high school age and they know how to work.
yeah.
And I said to her, nah, I can do it myself. It's just one tree. And then what I learned was, well, there was just one tree, and then about a million branches all over my
Yeah.
lawn.
Yeah.
And the idea that I will do it myself, uh, and sometimes it's easier to do things myself, all come from this place of protecting myself, where I made
Mm,
a protective promise once in my life, earlier in my childhood, that said my value is in what I do.
Mm,
So I said I work hard as a way
yeah.
of
Yeah.
meaning I had to be validated and to be seen as a human being. And there's all kinds of things that mentality does that
Yeah.
I will do it myself. And so leaders like of organizations, if you have a team or staff or whatever, like we're we send a message to other people when we say, "I'll just do this myself."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I should pause and let you say something. I'm talking.
Yeah. So a couple questions. First,
Yeah.
just for context sake, I don't know what a linden tree is. I've resisted Googling this because I
Uh,
knew we were going to talk about this. Is this a
yeah,
big tree? Like in 15 years, is this a big tree? Like how big are we
yeah.
talking here?
Well, I mean, it's probably 30, 40 feet tall
Okay.
already. And but they don't grow uh like really wide. They grow like columnar.
Okay.
They grow like
Yeah.
columns,
Yeah.
tall columns. They don't get overly spread out. And so that's why I liked the idea of them. And so like I don't know at their peak exactly what the finished height would have been, but this is a 40-foot tall tree.
That's a big
And
tree.
yeah, and what happened is I spent 3.5 hours doing it myself. Well, in theory, my wife was picking up and hauling and
Yeah.
dragging all of the other branches, but I had 4 trips to the city dump
Whoa.
in my pickup because that was a good sized tree, and it
Yeah.
turns out, yeah, like I got it done, but I paid a price. The price
Yeah.
was pretty significant.
Yeah. Which was, say more about the price.
Yeah, it wasn't just the fee for the chainsaw I rented, although that's coming, I imagine. Uh, it, I didn't sleep that night because my body was in so much pain.
Yeah.
The next day, yesterday, as we record this, uh, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And the toll that I can do this myself took on me was pretty substantial. Like we
Yeah.
pay a price for these things when we
Yeah.
make these decisions. And for me, it was like physical, a lack of sleep, a lack of productivity, of thought processes, of being able
Yeah.
to think and write and communicate with other peoples in ways that are healthy and
Yeah.
for the sake of the world and the health of the world. I was just almost utterly useless. But
Yeah.
what's also true about that, right, is there was impact on my friend and her boys who
Hmm.
were robbed of the opportunity to experience the joy that you get when you serve other people or when you
Hmm.
participate in something that's meaningful. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's the stuff I think for leadership that we lose sight of too quickly when I can do this myself. And like I don't know what meaning my friend made out of that exchange. I haven't asked the question. What I
Yeah.
learned from it is I'll ask for help next time. I'm not going to do that. And yeah, but there's something about that, right? That's a
Yeah.
more preferred way for me to show up
Yeah.
when that last linden takes a tumble.
Yeah.
My preferred way is to be open and gracious and to receive the help and to provide opportunities to collaborate with other people. And
Yeah.
that would happen in our coaching practice, right? That would happen in any setting that I find myself. And uh, my hope for people is that you grasp the idea that others, when we communicate, I can do this myself. They may not be seen or valued or validated, right? I
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
anything to offer is a meaning that someone else could make. And I
Yeah.
just think that
Yeah.
oh, it short circuits all kinds of things, including the growth of another leader.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. So another question.
Hmm.
You talked about some of this is related to like your ability to like I need to show that I can do this and validate that I'm able to do
Mhm.
this. Did you know like when you said no, I can do this by myself in that moment, like did you know that's what you were doing or like when did that hit you? Like, oh, this is when I like was it two chops into the tree? When did this hit?
It was pretty close to two chops into the tree. What, so the main street that heads into our subdivision, one person stopped their pickup as he's driving through and said, "Hey, are you okay?" Because it was like 95
It was hot.
and 100% humidity. So
Yeah.
like he saw me probably hunched over getting like restarting the chainsaw and I turned and I said, "Yeah, no, I'm good." But like I was already regretting my
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
And that thing that's alive in me, "Nah, I can do it," or I'm validated by what I do versus just who I am,
Yeah. Yeah.
it gets in the way. And like I said, it was a miserable 2.5 hours. It took me another hour to finish getting the lawn mowed after all of the debris uh, collection and delivery and whatnot. But yeah, it didn't take me long uh, to realize when I found myself in the middle of the mess
Yeah. Yeah.
to realize that I had made a bigger one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. I mean, yeah. I picture, I mean, it was so hot and I picture this guy looking at you like I just picture sweat dripping off your
Oh
head
yeah,
like
and
uh
I don't know. I I made some med changes a handful of years ago after I had a like no expenses paid overnight stay in the heart hospital.
well said.
Yeah, right. And yeah, it's like ever since I just sweat like there's no tomorrow. Could be that, and I don't love to like ride my bike anymore. So
Yeah.
that's also maybe a contributing factor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hot and miserable. And when I throw on top of that, like I wrote a little bit about this on LinkedIn, and the reality is that the gate on my truck doesn't work anymore. So at some point at the end, the very last of the things, I'm showing this online, but it's outside of the scope of our screen. You can't see it like
Yeah.
that
Yep.
last and it was the stump
Mm.
to Incredible Hulk that thing into the bed of the pickup,
With the tailgate
just
up.
about, yeah, with tailgate up. Like it was, think World's Strongest Man rolling stones up their chest and then setting it
Oh
on
my
top of
gosh.
yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, it
And
sounds rough.
I grunted pretty loud, and my wife, who's 150, 200 feet away, looks and is like, "What is happening over there?" I said, "Yeah, just
Yeah.
doing it myself."
Yeah. So let me ask this. So
uh,
the guy in the pickup truck rolls down his window. Was there a moment there where you're like, hey, maybe I need to like ask this guy to come give me a hand? Was there or was that still building?
that's just not I mean, that relationship is not one where I would
Ah,
typically be
yeah,
willing to say, "Hey, bro, like
yeah,
I've known of you for a long time, but I don't know you.
sure,
I'm not
sure.
really willing to let you enter my pain."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get
I
that.
mean, there's that's alive. It occurred to me and it flashed through my head. Should I ask him? I'm like, no,
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't know him well enough to do that.
yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
And
Yeah,
it's an indictment on me, right? There's a degree to which, well, maybe could have built a relationship by asking someone to partner with me that I haven't worked with before or spent any meaningful time with. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of I coulda,
yeah.
woulda,
That
shoulda
feels.
in this, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
that might be asking a little much.
That feels a little more like idealizing the situation. I mean, I think
Yeah.
what we know about these storms that was probably not the reality of what was going to happen in that moment. I mean, there was a lot
Hmm.
going on, so
Yeah, right. And he
yeah,
probably had his own mess to clean up. Who
yeah,
knows? He lives
yeah,
back in the place. I have no idea. But
yeah,
yeah, the thing I learned, the thing I'm learning is like I prefer to ask for help to
Mm,
create and to collaborate, to create opportunities and to collaborate with other people for the sake of like creating a little community for behaving in ways that are more in alignment with who and how I want to be versus doing everything myself. I mean,
yeah.
the idea ultimately is while uh, understanding why we do what we do takes some work, the effective path is effortless when we prepare in advance, when we understand how we want to behave and show up in places and spaces where we're tested or pushed to the limit. And
Yeah.
when a friend says, uh, hey, like I have a trailer and some boys and we could come help you, I can catch my breath and say, she's validating who you are by virtue
Yeah.
of asking to partner with you in this to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
helpful to you. And then I can say, I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we do this in an hour versus shutting down the
Yeah.
conversation right there? Because there are
Yeah.
times, I mean, there are times when the path can be effortful. Like the most
Yeah.
effective one requires effort, and it's
Yeah.
an effortful. It's not effortless, but we can also really, I think, have paths, opportunities that are effortless when we've prepared in advance
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to be able to behave in ways that align with how we want to be.
Yeah. I think it's really good. I mean, I think what you said about this person asking you to help, or if she and her boys can help, that is validating who you are. I think that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how much of like the Midwest nice kind of comes into play, like where we just assume like we can't be a burden on anybody, and that allowing someone to help is burdening them, or
Right?
or maybe they don't really want to help but they have to offer. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think you're right. Like, hey, I have this trailer and these boys and would like to give our time and energy
Mm-hmm.
to you because we know you and we care about you
Yeah.
and we appreciate who you are. Like, I do
Mm-hmm.
think that's really important. I'm glad you said it like that.
Great.
Let me let me ask one let me ask
Mm-hmm.
one more question.
Yeah.
Um, I've experienced some of this in you, and you've experienced some of this in me, but I wouldn't say in general that you are a person who rejects help.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's not my experience with you. Um, like from a 30,000 foot view, I would never say Chris never takes help, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is? Like, are there scenarios that might not trigger this as much for you? Like, do you know what made this one a hard, I'm going to do it by myself versus being more open to it? Do you have any,
Mm.
does that resonate at all? That question make any
It
sense?
does. It does. I I think the way I'd answer it is the damage that I perceived to be true, the job that was necessary to be done at my place was not near as significant as all of the
Ah,
other things that I could see by looking out my office window. Like
sure.
that, it's called a derecho. The derecho that raged through this part of the world, like left destruction that was pretty significant, including to my friends' farms uh, and their own property. I mean, there's a degree to which I'm like, I can say, suck it up, buddy, and let's get this
Yeah.
done. But uh, bigger picture, I think that there's something in me that doesn't want to be an unnecessary burden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there have been times when I think I've been aware that, or I made the meaning out of someone's critique that you don't work very hard.
Mm, ah, yes.
And
Yeah.
and so from that,
Mm,
right, that's where a protective promise is. I work hard.
yeah.
I do this
Yeah.
myself. I can do this myself.
Yeah.
And then there are
Yeah.
times when uh, I So I appreciate the fact that you said I don't experience you that way, from 30,000 feet. That I would say is years of work
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
attention to detail, and to be able to just acknowledge that, hey, I have limits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it may not have been true for you at 25 to 40 or thereabouts, but there was hey, like, there's no limit to what I can do in that season of my life. And I'll push hard and do all the things. And I managed people and we got a lot of stuff done, but I
Yeah.
didn't really lead them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so as a leader, I think it's incumbent upon me to ask for help, to not just ask for help, but to ask for opinions, to ask for thoughts, to say, this is
Yeah.
how I'm thinking about this. How do you hear that? And how would you think about situation X, or removing a tree? I mean, it could be
Yeah.
that simple or it could be really complex depending on the situations we find ourselves in. But I want to learn and receive input from people older, the same age, and younger than me, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's more collaborative than I can do this myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That really resonates. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel a similar, like I'm prone to do a similar thing for different reasons. But the impact remains the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I can think of scenarios where I'm pretty quick to say, I can do this myself, where it's not as much for me about validating like my abilities,
Mm-hmm.
or my worth. But it does have the same impact to communicate to someone else. I'm better at this than you are, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm smarter than
Yeah,
you are, or
right.
I'm more capable than you are. Like it kind of communicates. And I don't know that I want to expect that everybody else is going to make a meaning like I might make a meaning, but I think there's a
Yeah,
reasonable expectation that that's probably what it's communicating when I do the things that I do.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Um,
saying that.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for being vulnerable. Let's take a quick break,
Mm-hmm.
and then we will come right back and kind of wrap up a little bit. Cool.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Have you ever walked out of a meeting or left a conversation thinking, why did I just show up like that? Why did I shrink back or explode or stay silent when it mattered? You're not alone and you're not broken. You're likely reacting from a pattern that started long before that meeting ever happened. In their new book, Live Fully, Lead Authentically, Kurt Busch and Chris Godfreyson unpack the hidden second job so many of us carry, spending our days managing the anxiety, fear, and old stories that shape how we lead. Through honest stories and practical tools, they invite leaders to pause, reflect, and lead in a new way. Get your copy today at brimstonecoachinggroup.com/new book. Order now. This is your invitation to lead differently.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Live Fully, Lead Authentically, a Brimstone coaching podcast. Chris Godfredson here today with my friend Kurt. And I've been talking about an experience I had where, and every human being has done this, I imagine, at some point, where they either thought or actually said out loud, no, thanks, I can do this myself. And I've talked at length. I feel like I've talked the whole podcast so far. And I think what I'm curious about is, how do you hear that? How do you hear I can do it myself as it relates to the fact that, like, I had a downed tree and decided I'm gonna do this myself. I'll clean it up. And I paid the piper on that deal. But how do you hear that?
Yeah, I think what I hear is that this is less about you or how many of you are cutting the tree down,
Mm,
and more about how you arrive at who and how the tree is going to get cut down, right?
yeah, that's
Um,
good.
I think that there is a temptation if we just kind of ended the conversation here. I think there's a temptation that the listener might hear you say, that I'm always going to take help. I'm always going to have these people come over and cut this tree down. But in reality, there may be a situation where you actually say, no, that's okay. I'm going to do it. And actually, like you choose from a
Yeah.
place of your best thinking
Mm.
that I'm going to cut this tree down by myself. I mean, I have an introvert wife who I can just hear her saying this, and all she would be saying was, I kind of just want to like be in my own mind while I chop a tree down,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Um, so I think what I hear and what I experience in you is you naming, hey, I want to seek feedback. I want
Mhm.
to allow others to speak into the situations that I'm in. I want to allow others to help me. I want to allow others to experience the joy of helping someone
Mhm.
else. And at the end of the day, once you've run through all those things out of your best thinking, you still then have a choice to make to say, yep, today I'm going to take the trailer and the boys,
Mhm.
or today I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna go at this by myself, right?
Yep. As leader, right? There, some things are mine to do.
Yes. Yes.
Not everything. And sometimes it like there's something about in this story in particular, I think there's a pride element that is still alive in me
Mm,
that says, I don't want you to see me in all my mess. Right. And because like when the guy who's driving into the neighborhood said, hey, are you okay? He
yeah.
noticed something.
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah.
only one that stopped of the dozen vehicles that went by. So thanks, buddy, for checking on me. But
Yeah.
there's something about that, right? Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not every experience where you're cutting on a tree by yourself is associated to that protective promise.
Hmm.
Not
Correct.
everyone is associated to that sort of pride.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is an actual best thinking choice. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go at this alone, right?
Yeah.
So I think what, again, kind of to wrap that whole question up, I think what I hear is your invitation and our invitation to say, decide how you want to be, have a preferred promise that says, here's how I want to engage these
Hmm.
situations, walk through those steps, and let those steps and your best thinking guide a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that a lot. That is clearly stated. How would you have an example in your own journey that might be useful to our friends who are listening today?
Yes. Do I have examples,
Well, I
Chris?
mean,
Um, yeah, so I mean I can think of a number of them. I think from when I was in the corporate world, there's a number of times where I would say I'm just going to do this by myself. I have a very strong sense of like I want something done uh right the first
hmm
time, and what I know about myself is that often takes opportunities for teaching away from
mm,
me and other people. It really has nothing to do with, well, I'm sure it does if I dig deep enough, but on the surface, it really isn't so much about like, gosh, I have to look good in front of people. It really is like, I just want to get this stuff done
hmm
quickly, efficiently, and move on.
yeah,
And what I know is that takes away opportunity to show others. So where this
mm,
comes up now, you know this, my wife and I have this little side hustle that we do, and we're nearing the point where it's less of a side hustle,
right.
and it's more of like a part-time gig. Um, and what's true is we're nearing the point where we're gonna need some help doing the thing.
hmm
And the thing we do is pretty personality driven. It's an event. We
It's
we
a
host
whole
a
vibe.
we host events that are a whole vibe, yes.
Hmm.
And I have said more than once, I'm just going to do this by myself because I don't want someone to do it and get it wrong. I don't
Right.
want somebody to do it and have a bad experience. All the like I do this once a month, Chris,
Hmm.
with this little side hustle. I say this very thing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and it is really tricky. I mean, I think what I would affirm is like those protective promises go deep, right?
Yeah.
They go a long way back and are so stubborn and so
hmm
hard to kind of surface up and replace with different purposeful promises.
Yeah, they sure are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, I wonder, I'm not going to say I think, I wonder if actually some version of this is actually like one of the most common things leaders say to others or themselves.
Yeah.
Either I have to do this by myself or I'm going to do this by myself.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. And I would say some of what I've been processing around this whole idea is the reality that there are some leaders when they say I can do this myself who wind up having to do that in every scenario
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people who are not part of problem solving, who are not given opportunities to lead and to contribute, have left the system and they're working elsewhere.
Yep. Yep.
And that is not a place I have any desire to be as a leader any longer, right? Where there was a
Yeah.
time where it's like, do the thing, do it the way I say that it should be done, and everything will be just fine.
Yeah.
Well, like I don't think that people entering the workforce who are relatively early in their professional lives, I don't think that plays any longer. And I
Right.
think that they want to be included in and heard and seen. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
creating space and allowing that to actually take place requires work. It's not effortless. It
Yeah.
becomes that when we collaborate, but
Yeah.
it indeed takes work because what if they're smarter than me?
Yes.
What
Yes.
if they are better at this than me? All those things like stir in people if we're paying any attention.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was me for years, Chris. I mean, like
sure.
that was me where problem solvers didn't want to be around me because I just got to get this stuff done. And the threat of doing it wrong and having to do it again was just it's just too much.
You
So
remind me of something I want to go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was
No,
going to
I'm
say,
done.
like you said, I want to, if I want something uh, to to get done right the first time, I'll just do it myself. And what's true for me is like if I want something to get done right, I should ask somebody else to do it because when I'm doing things like that, I rarely do it right the first time.
Which I think is probably true. Like
And
we
I don't
say
want
that
people to see that,
jokingly.
right? I mean,
Yeah, right, right. Yep,
which is
yep,
just it's so phony. It's such a
yep,
facade. It's inauthentic. And when we think about living
yeah,
fully and leading authentically, leader, like let people see you struggle,
yeah,
make a
yeah,
mess, and and to come alongside in the project, whatever that project is that you're working on. That is this is the opportunity for transformation.
yeah. Yeah, you talked about the work, Chris. You talked about the work of uncovering some of this. Like, why do we feel like we have to go with this alone, or why do we feel like we're going to do this ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
If someone wants to engage in that work with you and I, because I mean, this is the work that we do
It
with
is.
people in groups.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to do some of that work with us, how do they get a hold of us?
The best way to do that is to log into our website, brimstonecoachinggroup.com, and then click on one of the tabs that would say schedule free consultation, free inquiry, schedule a call, do something. Uh, throw up a kite and let's have a conversation and we can determine what a coaching relationship might look like. That's the quickest, easiest way. You can also order a copy of our new book, Live Fully, Lead Authentically, the surprising link between self-awareness and your impact, available on our website or through Amazon and Barnes and Noble online. Yeah, that's and I would say like do not be afraid.
Yeah,
The when I say use words like effortful and effortless and what's a more effective path? Well, we all want the effortless path. And I will say that that is available to you. And I never believed that it was,
Hmm.
because all I
Yeah.
ever experienced was working so hard. Well, I don't have to work that hard any longer. Sometimes I choose to
Yeah.
because I'm not going to do it perfectly. But
Yeah.
there are resources available to you, and we are here as two of those resources to help you on your journey.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, Chris. We would love to connect with anybody that would love to know more. This truly
Mm-hmm.
is why we are here, why we do what
Yeah.
we do. Thanks so much, Chris. It's been a pleasure for this first episode of Live Fully, Lead Authentically. Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you.